Hi everybody!
The Last of Us Part 2 was one game I was really looking forward to when it was first announced in 2016. I had enjoyed the first game when it originally came out in 2013. I later revisited the first game in 2020 in preparation for Part 2. I found on a revisit that my tastes had changed and I didn't like the first game. But with the promised changes to the second game, I figured, okay, I may no longer like the characters or gameplay of the first title, but I want to see where the story goes, and I'm sure the game will still be competently made. I still believed in Naughty Dog back then, even though I had also been disappointed with Uncharted 4. So I got The Last of Us Part 2 just because it was going to be one of the swan songs for the PS4, and I figured, okay, even if I don't like the characters, the tweaks to the gameplay will still be fun. Nope, hated it. Found I hated the characters even more as they'd become even more fucking intolerable, and I hated the gameplay, it was more of the same, and it didn't even feel good to play. The Last of Us and its sequel do things I feel are the cardinal sins of gaming. They're fucking boring to play. Earlier today, at the time of recording this video, Sony have announced a remaster of The Last of Us Part 2 for the PS5. I have to ask why. No one fucking likes the game, so why re-release it? Now I know some numpty is going to be riding my ass in the comments on this one. I'm exaggerating. Learn what it fucking means. Honestly, this remaster makes no sense at all. The vast majority of people don't like this game. The people who wanted to play it will have bought it on the PS4 already, and with the bad taste the game left in the vast majority of people's mouths, it's not like people are really going to buy this game on PS5. On PC, yeah, that could make some amount of sense, because the PC market haven't gotten to experience the game yet. PlayStation gamers will have bought the game already, so this product just doesn't make sense. Also, the vast majority of people don't like the game. For most, it's down to choices Naughty Dog made with the characters. For me, it's because I find the characters unlikable and the gameplay boring. For the most part, I don't understand the remasters of PS4 games on PS5. It mostly comes down to the PS5 having backwards compatibility. If the PS5 was like the PS4 and couldn't play previous generation games, then fine. I could at least understand these remasters, as they'd have the quality of life improvements remasters always have, but they'd at least have a reason for existing. Even though I didn't support it, I can at least understand to a point The Last of Us Part 1 remake existing, as it took the already existing game and brought features from its sequel to the base game. Even though that game, I don't understand why they remade it, since the first game had been remastered for the PS4 anyways. So again, backwards compatibility comes into play. Also, despite my feelings towards the game, the first one is at least a beloved title. So again, it made some sense if you at least squinted at it, even if it wasn't needed. To be honest, it's clear The Last of Us Part 1 Remake was mostly there to bring it to the PC market with a ton of quality of life improvements. One thing I will give Naughty Dog is they are incorporating some new features into this remaster. Here you go, have a fucking cookie. That was sarcasm, by the way. These features could have been put out as a free update to the original game. I'll start with the obvious one first, graphical improvements and now being in true 4K when in fidelity mode. I mean, no shit, Sherlock, that's the fucking point of a remaster, to make the game look better in general. Next up is improved load times. Again, this is a standard expectation for remasters. Also, the game already loaded instantly on the PS5 M.2 drive thanks to the nature of the technology. The third feature they're adding is DualSense integration. Admittedly, I'm not a game designer, and this is probably the only thing they might not be able to roll out to the original PS4 version, but I very much doubt that. While I may love the feature the DualSense allows for, it really isn't that big a deal in most cases. For games like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, where the title is clearly designed with haptic feedback and adaptive triggers in mind, it makes sense. But The Last of Us 2 clearly wasn't intended for that, so it'll just mildly improve immersion in this case. So let's get into the new features that actually matter. One of them is roguelike survival mode. Well, this one could literally have been incorporated into the original game with a free update. Basically, it's just random encounters using assets from the game that already exist, plus some characters who weren't from the Last of Us franchise. This would be interesting if the combat was any fucking good. In a game like Uncharted titles, that could make sense, as the combat is fast, fluid, and fun. The Last of Us combat is slow, clunky, and generally speaking, not that fun. The game is a mediocre walking sim with mediocre shooting elements, along with mediocre crafting mechanics. So when you get down to it, this new roguelike mode isn't all that interesting, as it's just going to be an extension of the boring combat that already exists within the game. Fun, this game is not. so a slightly tweaked mode won't help that. Other modes included are 3 levels that were never finished. That might be fun to explore, I guess. Developer commentary has also been added, but that's something they could have put out on YouTube. No one's really going to use that feature. Guitar free play mode has been added as well, and you can unlock other instruments. Meh, this is a stupid feature to add. If you want to play on a fake guitar, get Guitar Hero or use something like GarageBand. They've also added a speedrunning mode. Seriously, all of these functions could have been added as a free update to the original release. They've also added some new accessibility features as well, those being descriptive audio and speech to vibrations. Those are great additions to the game, but again, the first one could have been added to the original release. The speech to vibrations probably could have been as well, but will benefit from the haptic feedback found in the DualSense. But really, this could have been incorporated as a free update. The final additions are some new skins for various characters and for the weapons found within the game, so cosmetic bulk crap no one really cares about. So how much is this going to cost, if you're even interested? It's going to cost $10 American to upgrade from your existing PS4 version. This is of course discounting the inevitable physical release, which will likely be a full-price game. Honestly, this re-release is stupid, which we're going to dive deeper into now. I'm not going to mince words here. This project is a massive waste of resources from both Naughty Dog and from PlayStation. The game, as I said previously, is already playable on PS5 thanks to the back compat. Also, all of the goodwill that Naughty Dog had accumulated with gamers since the 90s is effectively as dead as Joel. But this is a waste of resources for deeper reasons than that. Seriously, what the fuck has Naughty Dog been doing the last 3 years? We were supposed to have the multiplayer component of The Last of Us Part 2 by now, and we still don't have any idea if or when that's even going to release. The resources Naughty Dog expended to make this and the admittedly just as useless remasters of the Uncharted titles for PS5 could have been spent elsewhere. Same could be said for the resources used to make The Last of Us Part 1 remake. It almost feels like Naughty Dog as a company is directionless and are just trying to plug up the holes of a crumbling studio by releasing low-cost remasters of once venerable gaming franchises. Seriously, they could have used those resources to even start working on a brand new IP, which would have gone a long way to assuage the hurt feelings of longtime fans. I'm going to cover in a separate video why I think Naughty Dog is doomed to fail and why I'm quite frankly done with them as a company. Keep your eyes open for that one, as this point will become a core pillar of that video. Basically, what you need to take away from this segment of the video is Naughty Dog is not in good shape at present, and part of that comes down to Neil Druckmann and how he has grossly mishandled the studio. It's clear he's not capable of being a good leader for a game developer, and he needs to step aside ASAP. I really do hope Naughty Dog can mend their ways and go back to the studio they used to be. But considering all of the people who originally comprised the studio are basically gone, it's doubtful that'll ever happen, and it seems the shine of the studio that was once the crown jewel for Sony has been greatly diminished. Until next time, keep blazing that trail.